you for staying with us. President Bola Tinubu has directed the Special Presidential Committee on Emergency Food Intervention to immediately take action to address the worsening food security crisis in the country. This was disclosed by Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, at the State House in Abuja, after the committee gave assurances that there is no food shortage in the country. In response to the rising public agitation over the situation, the Chief of Staff to the President, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, and the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, convened a special committee's meeting where they disclosed some of the action plans of the committee. Well, joining us in the studio is Chairman Afero Cooperative Farmers, Wale Bama Uyekoya. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and congratulations for the Nigerians.
Congratulations to us all. Right, let's talk about food insecurity or food security, as it has been said. The president, sometime last year when he came on board, decided to declare a state of emergency to address the rising cost of food items and all of it, to also check some of the issues that we are now still talking about. But it seems we didn't get much result at the time, and now there is a committee being set up, Special Presidential Committee on Emergency Food Intervention, to address some of the issues that were raised at that time. What do you think was the missing link that we didn't get the result we wanted at that time last year when we actually declared a state of emergency?
Yes, I think this was in July 2023 when he first came in, and there are so many insecurity or shortage of food supplies in the circulations. Yes, in July 2023, yes, he said that he declared the state of emergency on food, and we are here discussing about it. But the problem we keep on having in this country is implementations. We have so many robust ideas, but how do we implement it? Very poor implementations. First of all, unless we are going to deceive ourselves, conflict and insecurity is the main issues we are talking about here, especially in the Northeast. Now they are here in the Southwest, they are not in the South and Southeast. How could a man go to the farm when there's insecurity, when he's being scared that he's going to be kidnapped or he's going to be killed? Does it really worth it? So these are the issues that need to be addressed first, with all the trillions of naira that is being budgeted for security, all kinds of stuff like that. Do we have any result? The answer is totally no. There have been so many regional conflicts, and the government is not addressing it. And we keep on having this shortage.
The government is not addressing it?
They are not addressing it. If it is being addressed, this thing has been going on since Jonathan's regime to Buhari's regime, now another regime. Yeah, there have been so many things have been happening, and too much money have been appropriated for these insurgencies. And when you talk of insecurity, it doesn't mean that they can. It does not mean that about killing. Even if you look at the supplies we have today, especially when you talk of feed to the animals, it's a big problem. We are not even growing. We are not even producing the way we used to produce in before the oil boom. If you look at in the 60s and 70s, Nigeria solely depends on agricultural produce like groundnut, maize, cocoa, all kinds of stuff. Where are they today? This is where our problem started from the system. If you remember, we have been having so many interventions.
Absolutely.
So many, from Operation Feed the Nation, Green Revolutions, all kinds of stuff. The same thing that this present administration was doing, the same thing Buhari did it. I remember that time when they called most of these ministers to go into the market to find out why prices are so high. And we came up somewhere there, the stakeholders in the agriculture, that they are doing things wrongly. There's no stakeholders. Look at the meeting they have yesterday. There's no agricultural stakeholder apart from the Minister of Agriculture. The stakeholders, the farmers, are supposed to say, what are we doing wrong? What do we have to do to improve the food security in the country?
Right.
So calling the ministers, when was the last time they went to the market? I'm even surprised that one of the ministers is saying that there's no food shortage in the country. That is a slap for Nigerians. We all went to the market. If he doesn't go to the market, he dare not go to the market and tell this market woman that there's no food shortage in the market. I'm a farmer. I know what we are facing. Right now, most of the helps that we get, like from Cotonou or Togo, they don't even want to come because our Naira does not work anything. Before, CFA used to be 6-1. Now, CFA is even more stronger than Naira. So they prefer to stay in their country, not even come here. So we have problem of staffing. So we are not addressing that. Number two, I give an example what is happening recently, even in Lagos here, not even to talk about Lagos in the northeast. We are doing our farming the way we're supposed to do between the Pharaoh and Ekwe Aziz. The military just came in. They took over our land.
I recall we had that conversation.
We are still on it. It has not been addressed.
Resolved.
No, even as I'm talking right now, if you go to our farm, the military already taking over. They are fencing us out. They could not even allow us to go into our farm to take what we have planted. They fence us at where we used to drive to go into our farm have been blocked. I was even discussing with the officer in charge, Brigadier General Ememe. He was so arrogant. I said, listen, I'm not debating with you that this land belongs to you, but we were here on the invitation of Lagos State Government. The Lagos State Government allocated the land to us. Now we can even take what we have planted. Some of us planted cash crops like oil palm, rubber plantation, name them. As I'm talking now, every farmers over there have been displaced. These are not Boko Harams. These are government officials. And you want food to be...
And they said there's no food.
And they said there's no food. Almost about 30 farmers in that Aziz have been displaced. And up to this moment, the Lagos State government have not even addressed us. We already wrote in, there was a press conference we had. Our lawyer already wrote them, but we are going to take the next action to take them to court because they were the one that allocated this land to us. Mm-hmm. We didn't just get there on our own. And all of a sudden, they said the land had been located to them in 1974. And I still believe that the land use give the power to the state government to use the land purposely, mostly for agriculture. Another problem we'll be having that most of the rural lands have been converted in the urban area for development. So these are the problems we are having. Even if we are having problems in the northeast or northwest, what happened to the southwest? We keep on blaming the federal government. What about the state government that has the power to allocate their lands to farmers by allocating so much lands into the farming? But no, they have already converted mostly to urban development. What about the local government? It's dead. We have 774 local governments. If all these local governments are producing, I don't think the president will be calling some of these ministers to come and give reports of food security in the country.
That's right. One of the ways to one of the senior advocates of Nigeria actually, went to court
yes.
and then got an injunction from the court, and the court actually ordered the federal government to fix the prices of some basic goods of petroleum products within 7 days. What do you think this stands to benefit the entire nation, or how do you see the federal government, working around this to obey the order of the court?
Well, Femi Falana have done his best because we see what is really going on in the country, that the food security is totally gone through the roof, especially the prices of the foodstuffs. Everybody just bring prices into the market, so there's no price control. So that is why Femi Falana went to the court to challenge.
What do you mean by everyone is just bringing their own prices to the market?
Because there's no price control, number one. If you come from Kwara, you come from Niger, you bring it to Lagos, you can dictate your own price. Whereas there's supposed to be a price control by the government to be able to control the prices of what we sell in the market. And without doing this, the farmers will be the losers. The middlemen will be the one that are really...
The farmers did not seem like they complained about it at all.
We are complaining. I'm a farmer. We are complaining because we people in the Lagos, you cannot compare the way we produce our produce here compared to the north. Because they bring from the north, because you have to realize that majority of the food that we are being eating in this country, either coming from the Chad or Niger. And where do they come from? They come through the north to the southwest. So by the time you get here, the price already high up, especially with the way they have been taxed before they even get here. You understand? So that is why Falana went to the court to challenge the federal government that the prices are getting too high for average Nigerians.
So if you look at the cost of transportation, because crude oil inflation is not only peculiar to Nigeria, it's a global phenomenon.
Definitely.
So if those ones are factoring the price of transportation and all of logistics into their pricing system, how do you think the federal government can come in?
Well, they can only come in to cushion the effect, maybe to give subsidy. The same way they be giving subsidy to what Falana is trying is saying indirectly to give subsidy to the agricultural produce. The same way they be giving subsidy into petroleum.
So this particular subsidy, you are advising federal government to go back to revert the subsidy policy. Is that what you're saying in effect?
For the agricultural produce.
It also includes, no, not only agriculture, it also includes petroleum products such as petrol itself,
yes,
kerosene, diesel, and all of that. And that was what the federal government removed subsidy on. So if you are, calling for subsidy, it means that you're outrightly asking the federal government to reverse the policy of removing subsidy.
Directly or indirectly, they are still paying subsidy on oil. And
how do you mean?
What I mean is that if you look at the exchange rate of naira to dollars today, there's no way the petrol that we are buying today with the exchange rate, there's no way they are meeting up. But they are not really, the government is not really telling us that they are subsidizing. They are still subsidizing. It might not be as high as like before. Because right now, if you look at the international market for oil now, in fact, Nigeria is still very lower. How is it lower? Because the government is still subsidizing. If they are going to put a price tag, the way they are bringing to the country, nobody will be able to afford. It will be almost about 8 to 1,000 naira per liters. So definitely there's a subsidy for oil, for petroleum. So the same thing we are saying that if there's a subsidy for petrol, why can't you get subsidy for most of the agricultural produce, especially the equipment that we use? Because right now we are not even practicing modern agriculture. That is the problem we have today. Our population is way over 200 million, right, but our population is deceiving us. And our government is not saying, when was the last time we have
census?
Yes, the census. To really know the actual number of people in Nigeria over 10 years ago. So this is really affecting us. So the government does not even know how to plan for his own citizens.
But the government is saying now that they should get to the reserves and release grains. And I'm wondering what the true state of the reserves. Do we have that much grains that would serve Nigerians at this point?
My sister, there's nothing in the reserves. We used to have about 33 reserve silos when Goodluck Jonathan was there. We spoke with them around that. I was the chairman of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We wrote a letter to the federal government then to concession this thing to private sectors. They were able to do about 26. And up to this moment, if you go there, you can't find a single grain. I mean it. I don't know when they say they should release the food, they should release the grains in the reserve. There's nothing there. Because if there's something there, look at how
all of the 33 reserve silos, rather.
There are 33 silos. 26 were concessions to the private sectors, and we're supposed to have more than that. They promise.
But there are reserves with the private sector.
Sure.
So definitely, maybe it could be that is what the government is, referring to. Maybe if they don't have, maybe they are, working.
They don't have it. They don't have it.
Private sector don't have it.
They don't have it because the production has been very low. Most of the farmers have been displaced. You can only reserve what you have. You can only export the excess that you have. You understand what I'm saying? So right now, the poultry farmers are really crying foul. The same thing with livestock farmers. Because if you look at the price of maize today, that is why you see crate of eggs now is being sold over 3,000 naira in the market, which is not supposed to be, because 70% of the feed come from the maize, 70% for the poultry. So right now, if we have the maize in the reserve, I don't think we'll be going through this mess. We don't even plant anymore. Most people that plant already been displayed. They left their farms, just like what is happening to us. We could not even harvest what we have. So the government really need to look at it holistically, not just about calling the ministers. What is the root cause of food shortage of this?
So invariably, you're saying that the government does not have a true picture of what the situation is.
They don't. If they do, it's not calling the ministers to the round table without calling the stakeholders, without calling the All Farmers Association, without calling all the rice producing associations or catfish associations. You cannot just sit down in your office and know what is going on outside. We are the one in the field. Okay, we complain to the federal government, to the state government. What has been happening? We've been complaining several times that we have 774 local governments. And I don't think most of these local governments are in power to even produce. And what happened to all these farm estates that we used to have before? Everything is a shadow of itself.
So what option is on the table for the government as we speak now, as we wrap up this conversation?
The option is for the insecurity to be
dealt with.
And to give more power and more help, more assistance to the farmers. A lot of people want to do farming, but they are scared to go into the farming. And most of the youth that are supposed to go into the farming, none of them will take cutlass and hold like in the olden days and go to the farm because they'll be scared that how much more can they do with cutlasses and hoe. So we need to modernize what we are doing. We have to do mechanization, and that way it's going to be able to bring down the prices of goods. When we have a lot of production, definitely the price will be crushed.
All right. We'll leave the conversation here now and hope for the best. Now that you have proffered some solution, we believe that those at the corridors of authority will pick a thing or two from what you have said. Chairman of Federal Cooperative Farmers, Wale Bama Oyekoya, thank you for your time and